If you ever thought about quitting after one setback, then this conversation is for you.
I lost all my money. I think learning the hard way is always the best way to learn.
What does a successful trader look like to you? At 18 years old, while most people are still figuring out their lives, Tom was figuring out how to recover from losing all his capital. He started trading at a young age, so while most kids were revising for exams, he was staring at the charts. And today he's not just here for his payout, he's here to talk about pressure, discipline, and what repeated failure does to someone who will simply not quit.
I was looking at what people were doing my age, people who I used to know from school. A lot of people were having a life that I wasn't. Very hard, like being so locked in on something that's not actually working. Initially, I was buying multiple prop firm accounts and just blowing them. Don't rush the process. Everyone has their time, but at the end of the day, you can never fail if you never quit.
Stay to the end because today's biggest lesson isn't about money. So Tom, thank you so much for coming down to Canary today to receive your 1.3k payout. I just want to say congratulations again.
Well, thank you very much for having me today.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure when I come up to visit you guys. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
I just want to jump straight into it. You're really young. You're just 18, right?
Just 18, yeah.
And I just want to talk to you a bit about what were you doing before trading?
So I was working on a construction site. I had dropped out of school at the time and I was sort of doing a bit of work here and there just to get some extra money. And then I was funding that. Well, I was using it to fund my reselling journey. So I was selling clothes with like brands like Cortez and Trapstar and stuff. And I was selling them for little profits. And then I used that to fund my trading career and obviously get to where I am today. Yeah.
So would you say you've always had kind of this entrepreneurial mindset?
Exactly, yeah. And at the time, the reason I dropped out of school was because I had a lot of mental health problems at the time. So using that time that I was off school, I needed to put it towards something to get me out of the position I was. Even though I was down all the time and obviously feeling depressed, I made sure I pushed through and got something going for myself, really.
Well, I'm glad to see you here today. Unless you must be so proud of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I do my best, but obviously there's always more to do.
So why didn't you continue with your construction and your upselling business?
Well, the thing is, it's like there's a point where you can scale, and you get to a point with reselling. I was on such a small scale, I had not the amount of capital I needed. So obviously I stopped it early and I wanted to look for something that I could scale quicker. And that's when I was utilizing prop firms, which could provide me with more capital and ultimately get me to where I am here.
And how were you introduced to trading?
So I had a family friend who was trading crypto at the time.
Yeah.
And he managed to make multiple 7 figures from his bedroom. He was in a very similar situation to me. And I think he was like 17 at the time. So I was like, oh,
wow,
maybe I can do that.
Yeah.
So I got initially into crypto trading and I lost all my money. And then I got introduced to Forex trading through watching TikToks and stuff. And then I had my first brokerage account open. So I was trading about a £500 account. Blew it all. That was all my money from the reselling. And it taught me a very hard lesson. But ultimately, it gave me a lot of good insight to what I need to be doing at the end of the day.
Do you think that failure that you learned, like, did you think you took away from that? And do you think that's a skill that you built on now?
Definitely. I think learning the hard way is always the best way to learn. Initially, I was buying multiple prop firm accounts and just blowing them the same day. That taught me the hardest lesson. You know, I was so upset at the time. I remember going down to my mum because she was working at home at the time. And I'd go sit with her and she'd be like, you got a trading face on. And she could always tell that I'd blown an account.
It's definitely a canon event.
It was a canon event, exactly. So yeah, it got me to where I am.
And what do you think hurt more when you went into Forex? Was it from losing? Did you think losing the money hit more, or was it the confidence, the ego?
I think it was mainly the ego. I just wanted to be right all the time. It wasn't the point of the money. Money comes and goes, and it's still the same now.
Yeah.
It's more the point of, at the time, I was so stuck up in wanting to win all the time. I thought you had to win all the time, but it's really not the case in trading. You can win a tiny percentage of the time and still be profitable. And that's exactly ultimately what trading is at the end of the day: risk, reward, and profitability.
For sure.
Probabilities.
It is just a game of statistics.
Exactly. It's all statistics.
So you said prior to the interview that your biggest struggle was your emotions?
Yeah.
And how did this play in trading? What did this look like?
So emotionally, I was over trading to get to where I wanted to be. So that is exactly what it shouldn't be in trading. So if you're trading out there and you're looking to over trade, this is not going to ultimately get you to your success that you're looking to find. Ultimately, having a strict plan and getting into a good routine is exactly what's going to do that for you.
Can I hear a bit more about your plan?
So my plan, I have a strict risk policy on my funded accounts, well, challenge accounts, sorry. And I do a max risk of 3%.
A day?
So In a day, yeah, or well, usually a trade, but I usually trade once a day on challenge accounts. If I lose a trade, I will tend to go on to another account. And I like to cycle my accounts, so then the risk is spread out between all my different accounts. So when I, for example, take a loss, 3% loss, I'll move on to another account for the day. And ultimately, if all the accounts get traded, I may not trade all of them, but then I leave it for the day. Now, similar thing for the payout. If I trade an account and I get a payout, I'll leave that for the 2 weeks or however long the payout cycle is, and I'll just let that be.
Is this kind of like to hold off the pressure that you have?
Yeah, exactly, because it is hard managing multiple accounts.
Yeah.
You know, it is overwhelming, but you've got to keep on track of it that way.
And how did you build this plan? Was this just from experience?
So it's all from experience and what ultimately worked well for me. So I was using FX Replay at the time. So I'd back test and I said, okay, what statistics work? So I'd gather data, I'd be writing down in my Notion all the time.
Good stuff.
Then I'd get the statistics and pair them with risk reward, probabilities and all sorts.
You mentioned everything changed once you understood what prop firms were trying to tell you. So tell me a bit more about this. What were they actually testing? Let the people who are watching.
So when I look to trade, I'm looking at what the prop firm's targets are, okay? So what do prop firms actually want you to do? So now it's an unlimited time frame. It used to be 30 days, but now you've got to hit, say, an 8 to 10% profit target in no matter what time it is, it doesn't really matter. I tend to aim to pass accounts in weeks because I don't like to waste time. We haven't got time to waste. I'd rather be trading funded accounts. But ultimately, prop firms are asking two things, okay? Don't lose too much and win a certain amount. Right? So 8%, you got to make that target. And it's not the point of managing a funded account. Now, at the time, I was thinking, okay, I've got to hold this account. I've got to be really slow and in consistent progression to pass this profit target. No, you can just pass the profit target in a day and get straight onto the funded account and then trade it like that. That's exactly what I do without over risking and hitting max daily loss or overall daily loss. But that's my sort of plan towards it.
So is your approach in passing a challenge compared to trading a funded account? Is it different? Do you risk differently?
Yeah, so I lower my risk when I'm on the funded account.
Right.
Then on challenge accounts, it's 2 to 3%. Usually 2%. I don't really risk 3% of my challenges too much. But once I get on the funded account, it's 1 to 0.5% risk. So massively lowered when I got on the funded account, because ultimately I'm looking for consistency, not crazy big wins. And I don't want to be hitting these max loss limits because they're very hard. They're very easy to hit when you're risking a larger amount. And
especially if you want to take another trade in the day.
Exactly. And, you know, just getting the evaluation passed quickly is important to me. But then once I'm on the funded account, getting a payout and being consistent and holding it for as long as I can, you know, getting that last drop.
Survival.
Exactly. And that's what's important to me with funded accounts.
Yeah. So talk to me a bit about your strategy. So you mentioned that you had a controversial take on it.
Yeah, so I have a very simple strategy. So it's basically mainly based off of supply and demand zones and also support and resistance. Now, everyone hates this. They're all wanting ICT, SMC, all these things, you know, and I started off with that, but I eventually drifted away from that overcomplicated nonsense because at the same time, a lot of these things are very similar. I mean, you know, there's some parts of SMC I use, you know, like inefficiencies, imbalances.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking on a chart. If there's a massive gap, you know, there's obviously unfilled orders in that zone. So I'm looking not primarily on that, but ultimately I am looking at that. So now the thing is, when I'm trading, it's very momentum based. So when I'm looking at supply and demand zones, it's a shift of momentum. So once we get to a zone, how we change and how we reverse, then I look to play that reversal. And then when I'm using support and resistance zone, it's break and retest of them zones. So it's a zone that's been holding for a while or supporting for a while, and then we break through and we come back to retest to gain orders, and then say we go to the upside, or it's the same thing for going to the downside. And that's basically my strategy. Very simple, but
if it works.
It works for me. So yeah, so I mean, with my back testing, I've got years and years of data, and it's showing profitability. So I don't need any more than that.
Yeah. So with the strategy that you have, do you aim to take a trade every single day, or do you really have that patience to wait for a high probability trade, for example?
If I'm honest, I don't have patience at all. But I love to trade. So if I'm trading, the substitute for that is I'll trade challenges. If I want to trade, I'll trade challenge because in my mind it doesn't matter as much. Funded accounts I'm very disciplined with. I trade then leave it for payout. That doesn't bother me. But also if I have a fresh account, I will be wanting to trade that over a challenge.
Yeah.
But with evaluations, it's not necessarily a part of, oh, okay, I have to trade a day. But if there's something, I won't hesitate to take it.
Can I ask what instruments you trade currently?
Yeah, so I trade EURUSD, GBP USD, and gold.
Do you have a set of rules, like trading rules, before you take a trade that needs to be ticked off?
No, not necessarily. So through my years of backtesting, a lot of it is intuition, is paired with what I've seen. So if there's certain zones I've seen or certain patterns I see forming, I will use that. It's all contextual every trade with me.
So when you're impatient and you also don't have a set of rules, does that make you risky?
I am risky. That's the game of trading.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, every risk I take is obviously proportionate to what I'm willing to lose. But
And do you ever think after a trade, no, I shouldn't have taken that because you let your emotions get to you?
All the time.
All the time.
But it's fine. It's trading. I don't get caught up on losses like I used to when I was first starting out. There's been many times that I've taken trades, but you look at all the top traders out there. Everyone does it. Everyone gets emotional or they over risk, or sometimes your rules just slip. But ultimately, as long as you're profitable in the long run and you've seen your tested system, it will eventually play out.
And you clearly don't let any single trade affect you either.
No, I do my best not to.
Yeah.
Sometimes there'll be something that it can affect me. Just a bad day, but trades don't affect me at all. I get on with my day-to-day activities fine.
So your first funded account, when was this?
So I was turning 17 at the time. So I was trading after about 1 year. I got my first funded account, and this funded account did do a lot for me. My first funded account I got a payout on. And then from there, it was a massive snowball effect. Once you know how to pass a funded account, you can do it again and again and again.
And how did you feel after you passed your first funded account?
I felt amazing, but I knew there was more to do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a difference between passing a funded account and making money.
Yeah.
Because anyone can pass a funded account, but not necessarily people can extract money from the markets and also keep it.
Yeah. What does a successful trader look like to you?
I think consistency is a massive part of being a successful trader. I think having your emotions intact is very good.
Yeah.
But also, we're all human at the end of the day. We're not robots. So I think ultimately being consistent, manage to scale accordingly, is a successful trader.
And would you say you're a successful trader?
I would like to say I'm a successful trader. Yeah.
Regarding your emotions and your thought process, what belief in trading did you have to kind of unlearn in order to become more successful in it?
I think patience was something that I massively had to improve because I wanted everything then and there. Now, in trading, it does take time, but not everyone's a one-size-fits-all because I was constantly comparing myself to other traders at the time saying, okay, these guys are making payouts in their first year, second year, and I thought I had to be like them. Ultimately, I did manage to do that in about a year, but people are doing it even quicker. They were taking months, and I was like, oh my God, I just want to be like them. And, once I eliminated the fact that I am who I am, and all I need to care about is me, as selfish as it sounds, and stop pocket watching other people, that was what really changed things for me.
So in order to do that, did you kind of block them out?
So what I did at the time, I actually removed social media.
Yeah.
I deleted my original account. So I was looking at what people were doing my age as well, people who I used to know from school, because obviously a lot of people were having a life that I wasn't. I was at home trading, backtesting, and it wasn't actually working at the time. So it was a very hard situation. It's very hard, like being so locked in on something that's not actually working. And you want to tell everyone about it, but it's embarrassing because it's not actually ultimately working. Eventually it worked out, but that was quite a hard point.
What did it take for you to have to kind of separate yourself from the direction your friends were going and to take your own route?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because being so young and making these big decisions.
Unfortunately, I had to cut a lot of people out the picture.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends at the time, they were obviously a bit immature. They also had different priorities, which is fair enough. That's who they were. But I wasn't going to force myself to be like them when I wanted to be with people who were actually making good decisions, scaling and doing their own business ventures. That's ultimately what I did. I managed to find new friends online. Online's great nowadays. easy to meet other entrepreneurs and people who have the same mindsets. So I was mixing with a lot of people older than me. So I was like 17 and I was speaking to a lot of people daily who were like 20, 21. And yeah, it really helped me definitely mature about that.
So taking this different route, did your family support you? Did your friends support you?
Definitely. Now, obviously, friends at the time, they took it to heart. And obviously, they thought I was pushing away from because I actually didn't like them. But it's more the point is I was trying to improve myself and separate myself from the crowd. Now, on top of this, there are also a lot of people that stuck around and helped me out. There's some very good friends and I do have a small circle, but obviously I've made a couple more friends along the way online who are doing similar things to me, and they're great people around me and we're progressing together. Now, also on the other hand, my family massively supported me. You know, they were my biggest supporters, even when I was losing all the time. So they saw how much it was doing for me. It actually gave me a routine. You know, I was getting up every day when I wasn't before, just to trade. London session, you know, they were great with me, and they're always there now.
That's amazing. Little shout out to them.
Yeah, a little shout out to them. Of course, they'll obviously reap the rewards.
So talk to me about your best trade. Now, this doesn't have to be the one that made you the most money. It could be just something that kind of really clicked for you in the moment or made you feel that this is going to work, trading is going to work.
I'll always go back to the trade that got me my first funded account. That was a real setting moment for me and created the massive snowball effect. I fell in love with the process. I love trading in general now. I actually get happy. You know, I get happy to wake up and trade, not in an exciting, emotional way, but you know, I'm there and I'm excited for the opportunities that could come and also the losses, because at the end of the day, every loss is a lesson.
They do happen.
But yeah, that's definitely my best trade.
That is amazing.
Main reason why it was so special is because after so many losses, it finally got me to that key point where I was actually seeing some sort of success. From that period before, all I was seeing was back-to-back losses. And that is obviously, for a trader, really demotivating.
So just before we get your payout transferred, I just want to ask one last question for the viewers at home. What would you tell to kind of your younger self, to people who are in the same position as you 2 years ago?
Don't rush the process. Everyone has their time. But at the end of the day, you can never fail if you never quit.
Okay, so let's ring Alex. Let's get your payout sent to you.
Thank you very much.
Hello. Alex. Hi, I'm here with Tom.
Hi, how are we?
We're all good, thank you.
It's time to get his payout sent over.
Congratulations. Okay, bear with me.
He said congratulations.
Thank you very much.
1,340 USDC.
Correct.
And that is now sent.
Thank you very much.
Perfect.
Let's have a
Thank you so
look.
much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you letting me come down today, and hopefully here's to many more, yeah?
Absolutely. Well done. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Amazing. See you then. Thank you. So here's my payout just received. Thank you very much.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you so much. Amazing.
So thank you so much, Tom, for coming
Thank
down
you
once
so
again.
much. Amazing.
Congratulations on such a successful payout. We would love to see you again very soon.
Of course, hopefully I'll be back soon, and I really appreciate you guys.
I'm sure you will be. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you. Like and subscribe.